In the Ryukyu kingdom, the birthplace of karate, this martial art was originally called te, hand. Te developed into several regional styles, notably Naha-te, Shuri-te, and Tomori-te. Among them, the powerful Naha-te and the swift Shuri-te are often regarded as the two main lineages. Naha and Shuri are the names of the regions where these styles originated. The leading master of Naha-te was Kanryo Higaonna. Meanwhile, among the martial artists active during the same era as Higaonna, the figure most representative of Shuri-te was Anko Itosu, the founder of the Itosu lineage. Born in Shuri, he served as a clerk of the Ryukyu royal government while devoting himself to the practice of te. He possessed a solid, barrel-like physique, and his iron-like fists and extraordinary grip strength were said to be so remarkable that they were passed down in legend. In the late Meiji period, when te was introduced into physical education at the Okinawa Prefectural Normal School and the First Middle School, it was Itosu who took charge of instruction. At that time, he restructured the traditionally combat-oriented art into a form suitable for education, elevating it into a system that also contributed to character development. Eventually, Japanese martial arts were systematized under the concept of Budo by Jigoro Kano and the organization overseeing the martial arts world, the Dai Nippon Butokukai. Coincidentally, the reforms and ideas that Itosu had been advancing in Okinawa aligned closely with this broader movement toward the Budoization of martial arts in mainland Japan. The foundation for the acceptance of Toda as karate-do on the mainland had, in fact, already been laid at this stage. Higaonna Kanryo of Naha-te primarily taught Sanshin, whereas Itosu taught Naihanchi. The Pinan kata, heian in Japanese, from Shodan to Godan, which are now the most widely practiced forms, were also created by him. Furthermore, Funakoshi Gichin, the founder of Shotokan, was a student of both Itosu and Itosu Anko and revered them as his teachers throughout his life. After the Ryukyu kingdom was annexed and became Okinawa Prefecture under Japan, and 2 years after the Nabeshima administration began, 18 public elementary schools had already been established in Okinawa by 1881. The number increased rapidly, reaching 53 schools the following year, which led to a serious shortage of teachers. To address this, a temporary teacher training institute was established within the prefectural normal school. This institution provided a 6-month crash course to train substitute teachers for lower grades. It is estimated that Funakoshi Gichin graduated from this simplified course and became a substitute teacher around 1885. Funakoshi began learning karate only after becoming a substitute teacher. He mainly studied under Itosu Anko of Shuri-te, practicing at Isato's home. It is said that Isato rarely accepted students. The kata Funakoshi learned from Isato was kusanku, kanku. Since the Pinan heian kata were created by Itosu Anko in 1905, they did not exist during Funakoshi's early training period. Therefore, Funakoshi had no opportunity to learn them at that time. It was not until 1919, at the age of 51, that he finally had the chance to study them under Mabuni Kenwa, a direct disciple of Itosu and later the successor of the Itosu lineage. The Okinawa Prefectural First Middle School, where Mabuni studied, was a prestigious institution for karate, where Itosu Anko and his top student, Hanashiro Chomo, enthusiastically taught the art. Originally, the Pinan kata were created by Itosu Anko as a form of physical exercise for lower-level middle school students, and some experts consider their value as martial techniques to be low. For this reason, they were not necessarily something an older practitioner like Funakoshi would go out of his way to learn. However, at that time, Yabu Kentsu, a leading figure in Okinawan karate, requested that Funakoshi teach karate to younger students at the Okinawa Prefectural Normal School. As a result, he had no choice but to learn them. Later, Otsuka Hironori, who branched off from Funakoshi, founded Wado-ryu, one of the 4 major karate styles of mainland Japan. Looking at the historical facts, one can understand how great the contributions of Anko Itosu, the founder of Itosu-ryu, were to the world of karate. Now, the second-generation successor of Itosu-ryu, who inherited his lineage, was Kenwa Mabuni. The founder of Shito-ryu is Mabuni himself. He was born in November 1889 in Shuri, Okinawa, and at the age of 13, he entered the school of Itosu Anko. Training took place at Itosu's private residence. After enrolling in the Okinawa Prefectural First Middle School, he also received instruction from Itosu's senior disciple, Chomo Hanashiro, thereby learning the orthodox Shuri-te tradition. In the spring of his 20th year, with Itosu's permission, Mabuni was introduced by Chojun Miyagi and entered the school of Kanryo Higaonna, a pioneer of Naha-te. Higaonna had traveled to Fujian province in his youth, where he studied southern Chinese martial arts, Nanpa Taizu Ken. Mabuni trained under him for about a year before entering military service, where he was assigned to the 23rd Infantry Regiment of the 5th Division in Kumamoto. After completing his service, he became a police officer in Okinawa, and the following year a detective. It is said that he resumed martial arts training around this time. In addition, he studied various forms of Ryukyu Kobudo, including the bow of the Aragaki school and the sai techniques of Tawada. In 1918, some say 1917, at the age of 29, Mabuni took the initiative in founding the Karate Research Club, together with figures who would later become central to Okinawan karate. In 1922, when Funakoshi traveled to Tokyo, it was Mabuni who retaught and refined Funakoshi's kata. However, according to Mabuni's eldest son, Kenwa Mabuni, Funakoshi did not study directly under Itosu or Kenwa Mabuni. Instead, he is said to have learned Itosu's kata from Mabuni through his own son, Gigu Funakoshi. This claim casts doubt on Funakoshi's stated training history. There appear to be multiple conflicting accounts on this matter. In May 1922, Funakoshi went to Tokyo and, upon recommendation from the Okinawa Prefectural School Affairs Division, participated in the first national athletic exhibition sponsored by the Ministry of Education. There, he presented karate kata, training equipment, photographs, and historical materials displayed on hanging scrolls, while personally giving explanations. Although he was expected to return to Okinawa immediately after the event, he received requests from numerous institutions, including the Kodokan, the Army's Toyama School, and various physical education groups, to give lectures and demonstrations. In June of the same year, he was invited to the Kodokan, where he demonstrated karate in front of Jigoro Kano and advanced judo practitioners. This series of events would later lead to the establishment of Shotokan. In 1924, Mabuni was appointed as a karate instructor at both the Prefectural Fisheries School and the Prefectural Normal School. The following year, in 1925, he established a karate dojo in his backyard and began actively teaching the next generation. That same year, he also founded the Okinawan Karate Research Club. This club included many of the leading figures of Okinawan karate at the time, such as Chojun Miyagi, Juhatsu Kyoda, Choyu Motobu, Choshin Chibana, and Kenki Go. It is commonly believed that Mabuni earned the trust of his fellow karate practitioners due to his sincere personality and his profession as a police officer. Although Chojun Miyagi was 1 year older than Mabuni, the two are said to have been personally very close. 5 years after Funakoshi moved to Tokyo, in the spring of 1927, Kano Jigoro, head of the Kodokan, visited Okinawa. The purpose of Kano's visit was to attend the formation of the Prefectural Yudansha Association and to celebrate the completion of a new dojo. However, prior to his arrival, Kano had also requested, through the Ministry of Education, that he be allowed to observe various karate demonstrations, making this request directly to the prefectural governor. In response, the Prefectural Academic Affairs Division convened leading Okinawan karate practitioners at the prefectural office to discuss how to accommodate his request. At the time, Kano held many prestigious positions, including member of Japan's International Olympic Committee, honorary chairman, former chairman of the Japan Amateur Sports Association, and member of the House of Peers. Despite these responsibilities, his passion for martial arts remained undiminished. In particular, he had developed a strong interest in Okinawan karate through witnessing Funakoshi's demonstration of the Kusanku kata. Kano expressed a desire to take this opportunity to observe all existing karate kata. However, the Prefectural Academic Affairs Division failed to fully understand his intentions and instead planned to present only relatively simple forms, likely the Pinan kata, treating karate as a minor component of school physical education. This plan was reportedly prepared in a typically bureaucratic manner. At that time, the Okinawan karate world had already lost major figures such as Anko Itosu and Kanryo Higaonna. In their place, senior masters like Kentsu Yabu, 60, Chomo Hanashiro, 59, and Chotoku Kian, 58, remained influential, while practitioners such as Chojun Miyagi, 40, and Kenwa Mabuni, 39, were entering their prime. However, even then, karate practitioners had little to no social influence in Okinawa. Facing the powerful authority of the prefectural government backed by the Home Ministry, they had no effective means of opposition. There was a real concern that if things proceeded as planned, Kano, who had gone out of his way to visit Okinawa, might leave disappointed with Okinawan karate. Mabuni, thinking this way, was deeply dissatisfied with the ordinary demonstration planned by the prefectural officials. However, he did feel some satisfaction in the fact that the Academic Affairs Division had decided to abandon the term karate jutsu and instead unify the terminology under Shuri-te and Naha-te. Even so, Mabuni believed that Kano, arguably the most powerful figure in the Japanese martial arts world, would not be satisfied with a mere cultural showcase organized by bureaucrats. Therefore, after consulting with Miyagi and gaining the support of senior masters such as Yabu, Hanashiro, and Kian, Mabuni planned a special private demonstration for Kano. He believed that in order to spread karate to mainland Japan, it was first necessary for Kano, one of the leading figures in Japanese martial arts, to understand its true value. Since explanations would be required, they would also need to respond to Kano's questions, thus providing a valuable opportunity to convey the true intentions of Okinawan karate practitioners. It is said that Mabuni, fully aware that he might incur the wrath of the prefectural officials, bypassed them and directly conveyed his passion to Kano. Kano was deeply grateful for Mabuni's consideration and immediately changed his schedule, allocating the following morning to observe the special demonstration at the new dojo. Although Kano had previously seen demonstrations by Funakoshi and Gima, this was the first time he was able to observe, without omission, the kata of highly skilled Okinawan masters. After the demonstration, Kano reportedly remarked,
"Anything that has been practiced for many years is beautiful,"
and suggested,
"Why not consider spreading this to the mainland?"
It is said that these words directly inspired Mabuni to resign from his position as a police officer and decide to move to Tokyo. However, behind all of this, the influence of Kano Jigoro was extremely significant, and it is possible that without his support, karate might not have spread as widely as it has today. Although karate-related sources often refer to Kano's contribution as a debt of gratitude, Kodokan sources rarely emphasize this aspect. While this is merely speculation, it may be that in line with Kano's philosophy of mutual welfare and benefit, Jita-kyoe, supporting the development of other martial arts was not considered something particularly noteworthy. In 1928, Kenwa Mabuni moved to Tokyo, where he visited Jigoro Kano to pay his respects. However, since Gichin Funakoshi had already been in Tokyo for 6 years teaching karate, and the karate population there was still small, Mabuni relocated the following year to Osaka, where karate was less established. One likely reason for this move was that industrial areas in Osaka already had communities of Okinawan migrant workers, which may have provided a more receptive environment for his teaching. After settling in mainland Japan, Mabuni is said to have studied other martial traditions such as Fusen-ryu Jujutsu and Nanban Sato-ryu Kenpo. Fusen-ryu, a jujutsu school developed in the late Edo period, included not only grappling techniques but also staff, jojutsu, chain and sickle, kusarigama, jita, swordsmanship, and naginata. Its fourth headmaster, Matai Montanabe, became famous in the Meiji era for challenging other schools and even sumo wrestlers. Using superior ground techniques, he defeated leading judoka such as Yoshitsugu Yamashita, earning a reputation as the man the Kodokan feared. While the depth of Mabuni's study is unclear, this is said to be one of the traditions he encountered. Nanban Sato-ryu Kenpo was a martial art reportedly inherited by Seiko Fujita, often called the last ninja. This rare school emphasized atami, striking vital points, alongside jujutsu, with a distinctive focus on strengthening the fingers and toes. Its techniques reportedly had no formal names, and its scrolls were said to contain only illustrations, such as Tengu applying techniques to kappa. Originally known as Nanban Ippo-ryu Jujutsu, it was founded by Hashimoto Ipposai, also called Ipposai or Ipposai Kazusai, of the Nobioka domain. During the Boshin War, he was said to have crushed enemies' collarbones and necks even through armor. The lineage was later passed to Fujita, who renamed it Nanban Sato-ryu Kenpo. After World War II, Fujita reportedly taught this system to Mabuni, his student Manzo Iwata, and Konishi. It is said that the lineage continues within the Iwata branch of Shito-ryu. In 1931, Mabuni named his own school Mabuni-ryu. In 1933, he became the karate instructor at Kansai University, and in 1934 he established the Yoshikan Dojo. This is a photo after a Butoku festival held in Dai Nippon Butoku-kai in 1938. This photograph features a distinguished lineup of figures who led the world of karate. Among them are Sanosuke Ueshima, Yasuhiro Konishi, and Hironori Otsuka, many of whom studied under Kenwa Mabuni. Alongside Choki Motobu, they can be regarded as some of the highest-ranking masters of Okinawan karate in mainland Japan at the time. Also included are Tatsuo Yamada, who served as Motobu's senior instructor, Gogen Yamaguchi, a leading disciple of Chojun Miyagi in mainland Japan, and from his lineage, So Nei-chu, who would later become one of the teachers of Masutatsu Oyama. This lineup suggests that the spread of karate in mainland Japan at the time was not merely a simple transmission of a martial art, but rather a dynamic site of reorganization, where masters from different schools and lineages intersected and influenced one another. In 1939, he was awarded the title of Renshi by the Dai Nippon Butokukai, and in 1942 he received the title of Kyoshi, then the highest rank in the newly established karate division. Mabuni is often described as a gentle and peace-loving man of high character. The concept of do in Budo reflects Kano's philosophy. Through martial arts, one cultivates oneself while learning to respect and care for others. Thus, Budo differs from mere combat sports in its emphasis on etiquette and discipline, something especially notable in Shito-ryu. This may reflect Mabuni's own integrity and character. The name Shito-ryu itself honors his teachers. One character, Shi, is derived from Anko Itosu, and To from Kanryo Higaonna, expressing his gratitude. Among karate styles, Shito-ryu is known for having an exceptionally large number of kata. This is because it preserves and practices forms from both Shuri-te and Naha-te traditions. Shimizu won back-to-back titles in the individual kata event at the World Karate Championships in 2014 and 2016. She also achieved 7 consecutive victories at the All Japan Karate Championships from 2013 to 2019. In addition, based on her ranking points at the conclusion of the Premier League Madrid tournament in December 2019, she met the selection criteria set by the Japan Karate Federation for the national team. She went on to compete in the women's kata event at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, where she won the silver medal. Watching her kata at the highest level in Japan, it's easy to understand why Kano Jigoro remarked, "Anything practiced for many years becomes beautiful." Although Mabuni clearly valued kata, evidenced by the vast number he mastered, he also warned against relying on kata alone.
Kata contains all techniques of offense and defense. Therefore, kata must be practiced accurately, with a full understanding of its applications and meaning. Some may think that it is sufficient to neglect kata practice, and instead focus only on kumite, derived from the analysis of kata. However, such an approach will never lead to true improvement. This is because techniques of offense and defense, such as blocks and strikes, are infinitely varied, and it is impossible to reproduce all of them in kumite. If one practices kata correctly and thoroughly on a daily basis, then in critical moments, the diverse techniques embedded within it will naturally manifest. That said, practicing kata alone is not enough. Without sufficient physical conditioning, one cannot demonstrate real power in actual situations. There is also no need to learn an excessive number of kata. 2 or 3 kata are sufficient to truly master as one's own. Others may be studied as reference. Having many kata without depth is meaningless. If you thoroughly study your own kata and are able to perform it correctly, then in critical moments, techniques will emerge unconsciously and produce unexpected effectiveness. In summary, deeply understanding the meaning of kata and training it correctly is the most important element of karate practice. At the same time, however, basic training in kumite must never be neglected. With the mindset of devoting half your effort to kata and the other half to all other forms of training, and by training sincerely without imbalance, great results will surely follow.
It was personally surprising to learn that Mabuni did not place exclusive emphasis on kata alone. Although some have questioned its practical effectiveness, among Mabuni's students was Sawayama Muniomi, the founder of Nippon Kempo, a practical martial art even adopted by the self-defense forces. Furthermore, practitioners of Nippon Kempo include accomplished fighters such as boxing world champion Jiro Watanabe and kickboxing champion Genshu Igari. Igari knocked out 3 active Muay Thai champions, won the WKA World Middleweight title in 1979, and served as chairman of the Nippon Kempo Association as well as its chief instructor, holding the rank of 9th Dan in Nippon Kempo. Considering these facts, it can be said that Nippon Kempo, which is partly rooted in Shito-ryu, clearly demonstrates a strong capacity for real-world application. A scene from a Nippon Kempo match. Its founder, Muniomi Sawayama, became dissatisfied with the absence of free sparring in the karate of Kenwa Mabuni. He eventually left karate and went on to establish his own martial art, but it could be argued that the foundation of its striking techniques still lies in Mabuni's karate. From 1937 until Kenwa Mabuni passed away, a period of 15 years, his senior disciple Ryusho Sakagami remained constantly by his side in Osaka. According to Sakagami, Mabuni's training focused mainly on kata and pre-arranged sparring, with no fixed training hours, and was conducted on worn-out tatami mats in a cramped 6-mat room. At that time, in Tokyo, the school of Gichin Funakoshi had already adopted the modern lightweight karate uniform derived from judo attire, but Mabuni's students continued to train in standard judo uniforms. Sakagami also recalled that in those days it was nearly impossible to make a living from karate, and Mabuni himself was no exception. His life was not an easy one. After receiving a master instructor's license from Mabuni in 1941, Sakagami served as one of his closest aides. Although Mabuni commonly used the name Shito-ryu, he was a direct disciple of Anko Itosu and also a successor of Itosu-ryu. After Mabuni's death, his son inherited Shito-ryu. While in January 1952, Sakagami was appointed by Mabuni as the third-generation head, Soke, of Itosu-ryu. As the third-generation head of Itosu-ryu, Sakagami established the Japan Karate Do Itosu Kai in 1955 in Tsurumi Ward, Yokohama. One of the defining characteristics of Shito-ryu is the overwhelming number of branches and sub-schools compared to other styles. Examples include Itosu-kai, Ryusho Sakagami, Seiki-kai, Masaru Watanabe, Shuko-kai, Chojiro Tani, Hayashi-ha Shito-ryu, Teruo Hayashi, Shudo-kai, Hiroshi Seki, Meibukan, Toshio Fujitani, Doshi-kai, Iwao Abe, Kenyu-kai, Ryuichiro Tomoyose, Seishin-kai, Masahide Kokuba, Shingi-kai, Kozoto, Kensei-kai, Teruo Takayama, and Nanbu-kai, Kenpei Kimura, among others. According to materials I have, even by the 1980s, less than 30 years after Mabuni's death, This many branches already existed, and they have likely become even more fragmented since then. While the repeated fragmentation of groups like Kyokushinkai-kan is well known today, such a phenomenon was quite unusual in the Japanese martial arts world at the time. Although this is based on second-hand information and may not be entirely precise, one explanation is that Shito-ryu was created by integrating the lineages of Itosu Anko and Higaonna Kanryo. As a result, it contains an enormous number of techniques and differences in interpretation among disciples, along with varying priorities, led many to branch off independently.
Japan B is a channel that randomly shares information about lesser-known aspects of Japanese culture, spanning across various genres.